Ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues, those of you that are here with us, sitting in this room, those of you that are online, it's a real pleasure to be with you, and thank you very much. I'm very proud of having been born in a very small place called Uruguay, but very powerful country in the world, I hope. Not as much as India, but we are working to get there. So what a year have we had? What 2 years have we had? And what do we have in front of us? A lot of opportunities, and I liked very much the previous speaker saying, we don't have problems, we really have opportunities to work towards. So what are we talking here about? Are we talking about chemicals? Are we talking about pollution? Friends, we are talking really about life. We are talking about livelihoodness. We are talking about social development, but not social development as such, social sustainable development. We are talking about economic sustainable growth here. And maybe I will start with a never-ending story that you know by heart, I'm sure. And it is that story that starts with a real spark and a magic molecule, a magic solution that we have found. Years after, that goes into the drain. And we start seeing all the problems that those molecules that were supposed to be fantastic are causing big, big issues. That's a paradigm. It's a never-ending story. But luckily, the world, we have understood that that can be changed, and we are changing it. And you are at the core of that change. You are really at the core of the transformation that we need, at the core of leveraging. And what are we talking here about? We are talking about innovation, but we are also talking about policies. We are talking about circularity. We are talking about incentives. We are talking about alternatives. It's not only looking at the legacies, but looking into the future. You are part of value chains, maybe at the beginning, maybe at the end. But all of us are in charge of being or living in a toxic-free world. Full leverage is needed. What's happening, of course, always, is that we are working, and sometimes we cannot see the real big picture of the things that are happening around us. And what is the story that we would like to see is the story of transformation, is the story of really leveraging that change that can bridge us to the future we want. I would like maybe to tell you a little bit about the international arena and where we are working. Of course, we have to really see this into perspective. So you know the 3 planetary crises that have been already embraced by the world, and they are crises, unfortunately. We have the climate crisis very strongly against us. It's a journey that we have to really do with science, that we need to do with solutions. If we talk, for example, about the impacts in agriculture, climate change is devastating us. But then what are we doing to proactively stop those things? We also have the second pillar of planetary crisis, which is the biodiversity loss. And sometimes when we think of our childhoods, we remember places with forest or places where there was a lot of water, there were rivers, there were little lakes. And now all of that has changed. It's no longer there. Big question marks. And we have the third pillar, which is the chemicals and pollution arena. And sometimes we tend to see these groups of people sitting with us here today as part of the contribution to the pollution pillar. But in reality, what we are doing, or what we have to do, is look into the way not to further pollute, not to further contaminate. In this area, we are working towards developing a new instrument, which will be a voluntary instrument. Some of you might have heard about the acronym SAICM, which means the Strategic Approach to International Chemicals Management. It was adopted in Dubai in 2006, and the world in 2015 realized we need to change many of the things there. So next year in Bonn, in Germany, in September, this new instrument will be adopted not only by governments, but by every single stakeholder and sector in the world. Similar to the SDGs for sustainable development, this framework will address chemicals, waste, and pollution in an overarching manner. What are we doing towards that? We are engaging with sectors. We are engaging with countries to see what it is needed. We are talking about principles of sustainability. I have seen in the videos being shown, you have a lot to offer. We need you in our conversations. We are having different activities. The next milestone is Bucharest. It's Nairobi, Kenya, where we will conclude the first big draft of these instruments. There are targets there. There will be indicators. There will be commitments by academia, by sectors, by industry. ICCA is fully engaged and offering solutions, I hope, together with you in these things. So, Green Revolution in India, I also heard that in the videos. I think we need to really target a green revolution in the world. Be ambitious. Think globally, but act locally, sustainable. The big journeys always start with step. This is not your first step. This is in reality a continuation of many things that you are doing. Let's tell the world what you are doing, also through the commitments in the international level in September next year in Germany. We not only can do it, we have to do it together if we really want our children to have a planet to live. Thank you.